Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic episode of The Left Wing. I am TJ Whitehead, powers taken, not given, joined as always by John Cooper of Counterpoint Politics. How are you doing today, my friend?
TJ, I'm doing great. Let me tell you, I haven't been this excited to hop on a live in quite a bit.
Oh, wow.
The Signal story is just, it's a maelstrom. It's a perfectly timed sequence of events that just, you could have never seen it coming. And in hindsight, it's so perfectly fitting. Like I cannot wait to make fun of this for an hour.
Oh, wow. First off, maelstrom is a good word. I love the word maelstrom. I don't think it's used nearly as often as it should be. Like Sturm and Drang is another good term for stuff like that. And really, I'm kind of surprised that you would say you didn't see this coming because you talk about their incompetence all the time. This seems right up
like
your
I
alley.
see you like. Let me put it this way: I see incompetence coming,
Mm-hmm.
but the scale of incompetence, no one could have predicted this particular thing happening. You know, if I could like bet like the field of incompetence, sure, but like this, who would have seen? Not only I would have guessed, they're going to be using some unauthorized messaging apps and things are going to leak. 100%. I would have guessed that. They would have invited a journalist accidentally to the chat. Oh my God. Like, you can't make that shit up, DJ. Like, if this, again, we say this all the time. If this happened in a movie, you'd be like, well, that's unbelievable. That wouldn't actually happen in real life.
Yeah. So you want to clue the folks in on what exactly we're referencing here?
Yeah. So if you've been living under a rock, was it yesterday or was it the day before?
I think it was the day. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday.
Okay.
I think it was yesterday. Where the Atlantic's Jeff, not Goldblum, Jeff
Goldberg, I think. Yeah.
He released an article entitled the Trump administration accidentally invited me into a group chat discussing their war plans. And that's exactly what happened. And this was, again, everyone but Trump was in this group chat. It was J.D. Vance. It was Pete Hegseth. It was Tulsi Gabbard. It was there's a couple others. I forget the entirety.
Stephen Miller was in there.
Stephen Miller was in there.
I forget the lady,
security advisor.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. And they're saying he's the one that Waltz, I think is his name. He's the one that actually invited the journalist to the chat. But yeah, they invited not just a journalist, but an editor for the Atlantic magazine to their little Signal group chat. And he just sat there, TJ. He just sat there and he was like, can you imagine? Can you imagine just getting these texts from like JD Vance being like, we're going to bomb Yemen. Yay, fire emoji, American flag emoji. Like, there's so many levels to how bad this is for the Trump administration. But I just want to like point out the thing why I think this is actually a big deal, because it's funny. It's very, very funny. It is a Mr. Magoo level fuck up that just, it's going to leave containment and enter mainstream discourse. Normie Americans are all going to hear about this, and there's no way to put makeup on this pig. It looks bad any way you slice it. Their best defense so far, I guess, has been the journalist was bad, in which case, why did you invite him to the group chat? Like, it's such, and even if they're saying he hacked into the group chat, okay, how did the director of the CIA, the Secretary of Defense, and the director of the Department of...
the Secretary of the Department of Defense and the Vice President.
Yeah, how did none of these people, who are supposed to be the smartest security people in the country, not notice that there was just this random number in their group chat while they were discussing war plans? By the way, also illegally, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So, all right. So when I saw this, I wasn't, I guess, quite as... Well, actually, you know what? The weirdest part of it is that who were they trying to invite? Like,
I still haven't figured it out, TJ. It's been cooking my noodle for the past 24 hours. Who the hell did they think they were inviting?
Yeah. Is there another person named Jeffrey Goldberg on the staff of the White House? And why did they have Jeffrey Goldberg's Signal contact anyway? Because all right, the only way this makes sense is, I forget the guy, Waltz, you said, the guy who actually put this thread together. He must be talking to Jeffrey Goldberg like regularly. There's no other reason he would have his contact info, right? Why is it there? And like you mentioned,
like he's been leaking stuff to Jeffrey Goldberg.
Listen, it's the only thing that makes sense, right? It's the only thing. Like, unless it was like an act, like why is his contact info there? Why is Walt have it in the first place? And then you mentioned how Jeffrey Goldberg stayed on the chat. He didn't stay on long enough, if you ask me.
I stayed on for the rest of my life.
Right.
I would have built a dossier over 4 years of all of this information. What an idiot. Wait for a smoking gun until you come out with this. And the fact that he isn't releasing all the text is
wild. It is like people was like, oh, I've seen people say what a good responsible journalist. No, fuck that this guy seems like terrible. Like, this guy's an editor, this guy's in charge of stuff. And people said, well, if he stayed on, he might be subject to criminal charges. Like what? Being inadvertently added to a group message, and the person that put it together was too stupid to realize that they were sharing national secrets over text messages using Signal. Now people talk about, so all right, a lot of people are asking about what. There's no like checks for the classified status of the security clearance status these people hold and everything. This is not supposed to happen. Like, if you know anything about how military intelligence works, this is not supposed to happen. If you want to communicate this stuff,
you know anything about how like a mid-level accounting firm works, this is not supposed to happen, let alone national security secrets. If I did this, I would be fired, and I work in marketing. If I invited a journalist to my group chat where I was sharing client details, I would be fired, probably sued to oblivion. And this is literally our national security apparatus.
Yeah. For those who like how this is supposed to take place is that we're in the military. There's two methods of communication for email and for using messages on the computer to send emails and documents to each other in the military. It's a NIPR and SIPR is what it's called. I think NIPR stands for non-secure internet protocol, and SIPR is secure internet protocol. And if you want to talk about top secret stuff or secret stuff, those two different categories, you always use SIPR. That is the only verified way you can get this information, other than transporting it in documents that are clearly labeled as classified that cannot leave certain rooms. They can't even be printed on any printer you want. It has to be printed on a secret printer. Also, there are locations called SCIFs, and a SCIF stands for Sensitive Compartment Informational Facility. You heard a lot about this with Donald Trump whenever he had his record, the secure records at Mar-a-Lago. And the way a SCIF works is it is a room or a building that's put together specifically for discussing secret information. And when you want to go into a SCIF, you have to take out your cell phone, you have to take out any electronic equipment, any cameras, anything that can record stuff, and you put it in a box outside of the room or the building, and then you talk about that stuff. Sending it over text messages is not allowed, but I guarantee it happens all the time. It happens all the time because I was there. People do that shit. And Zeke just said, and they gave Hillary a hard time. Yeah, I know. And look, when the thing happened with Hillary Clinton, I was in the military at the time, and I did say, listen, if I had done what Hillary Clinton done, I would be in jail. It's true. It's true. And it's funny that they've spent 10 years whining about this when they are 10 times as sloppy and are, just saying, oh, actually, this is fine. Nothing really happened.
Yeah, and that is a fair call out that what Hillary did was wrong, but at least it wasn't
this bad. It was not this bad. Not even close. Not even close.
Not even close on so many levels, because there's the level of this is literal war plans. This is literal, they're discussing military actions and I know that no one cares about this. No one actually cares that the plans they were discussing was bombing a hospital. But I bombed a hospital. Response, fire emoji, American flag emoji, fist emoji is one of the most blazingly insensitive things I've ever seen in my entire life. I know that just doesn't get headline. You're not gonna hear too much about that, but it deserves to be said. Second, doing it in private messaging software that is just for civilian use. Again, while one of them is literally in Moscow.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to the others, by the way. And inviting a journalist is what if they invited Putin? They could have invited anybody.
Yeah.
Literally, this is probably as bad of a scenario as this is for the Trump administration. in terms of national security, this is the best case scenario. Like, imagine what could have been discussed in that group chat that, like, we don't know who was in it now. Anyone could have been in it. Any of those numbers could not be the actual. Who fucking knows? These guys are idiots. I see people are like, oh, this is like 3D chess. They want to create like negative polarization. No, this is incompetence. Don't blame on malice or genius what could be explained with sheer incompetence.
What would the 4D chess move be? Like, because
I saw people saying like so there's like the smaller, like we'll call it a 3D chess move of they were intentionally using signal to like get around archival laws, like they won't, in case they were discussing war crimes, whatever, they can be deleted, not subject to Freedom of Information Act, yada yada yada. Like, again, discussing these things through signal and not through official channels where they can be archived is very fucking illegal. But I don't think they even knew that, TJ. I think they use signal because they're like, well, why use these systems?
It's easier, definitely.
I just want to do the easier thing. That explains it much better to me. But the 3D chess thing was like, oh, well, it's so dumb to have invited a journalist to this chat. It must have been intentional. They couldn't have possibly done that on accident. They must have been doing it intentionally to try and create negative polarization and somehow discredit this journal. No, there's no way. These are the Four Seasons landscaping people.
Yeah.
They did not fucking do this on purpose. It was an accident.
So I wouldn't put it past them to do this. And the thing that I thought of was, you remember when Trump's tax returns got released to MSNBC? Do you remember that? Yeah. This is back in 2015. Rachel Maddow made this announcement that they had Trump's tax returns. People have been looking for them for a long time. And it turns out someone had just sent them to MSNBC, just sent an anonymous package, say, hey, here you go, here's Trump's tax returns. And then MSNBC released them, and they were the best tax returns that Trump had probably in the last 15 years. That showed him making a ton of money. It was when he got married, so his taxes had to be in order. And it made Trump look pretty good. And the theory is, and I kind of buy it, that Trump actually had that sent there. And I was okay, so I wouldn't put it past them to do it. But there's no way they come off looking good in this. They only come off looking bad. Although I don't know if I agree with you that this is going to have a big impact culturally. People will know about it, but if no one gave a fuck about Trump keeping the top secret documents in his bathroom, I don't think they're going to care about this. I really don't. Like
that's the difference, TJ. That's not funny. Like, oh, Trump's keeping top secret documents. It's pretty kind of funny. Yeah. We laugh about it, but like, if you were to ask your average American, did you hear about this? They have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. This is already broken containment. This is already all over the place. And I'm not saying that this is like going to bring down the administration or anything, but it is a massive weak point that Democrats need to just hammer over and over and over again, because they haven't been able to generate any sort of consistent defense to this, because there is none. It is the most cornered position they could possibly have on something that is very easy to understand why it was bad. Because again, a lot of Americans have data security training as part of their fucking normal daily lives and understand how dumb this is just on face value. It is actually a real bad thing. Like, as much as we don't know anything necessarily bad happened yet, it is very scary. The implications of this are very scary and not difficult to illustrate for people. And lastly, again, I can't stress this enough, it's really funny. It's really, really funny that they invited a journalist to this group chat. The headline breaks through to people. I do think that this can have lasting impact if they're able to maintain message discipline on it and not just give up after a couple of days.
We have Zeke asked, do you guys think someone will get fired? So I don't think anyone's going to get fired over this. I don't. These are Trump's handpicked guys. They're not, and I think John brought up the main reason no one's going to get fired is because nothing bad happened from their point of view. It's that, hey, this leak got out. They had the military attack. It went according to plan. There's no heads need to roll because of this. I think they're just going to punch through it. I mean, honestly, we've seen weird stuff all over again. So someone should be fired. And I'm not talking about Pete Hegseth or this Waltz guy. I'm talking about Jeffrey Goldberg. That guy should lose his job. I am never going to forgive this guy for just dropping out because it was the right thing to do and I didn't belong there. And man, you should have hung out in there years. Hang out there until the group chat, what is it, the Houthi attack small group, until they close it out and no one's talking anymore, and just release everything. Because they were asking Tulsi Gabbard about this, and she said, well, no classified information was released. He said, okay, well, why don't you show us what was in the text messages? No, I'm not going to do that. So, all right, well, which one is it? Like, if it was ancillary stuff that didn't matter, or was it actually important?
Yeah, and Kyle says hi. We're saying hi, Kyle.
What's
This
going on,
is
Kyle?
our Q&A show. So definitely ask your questions in the chat here. Although me and TJ are going to have a lot to say, so I hope we're going to get to it. But I will disagree with you a little bit.
Sure.
In that I think that it's possible someone does get fired. And it's interesting to see how Trump plays this, because we all know Trump isn't necessarily like, yeah, it's his handpicked guys, but he likes to fire people. It's kind of his thing, you know. So like, if it gets bad enough, Trump will totally scapegoat someone. You know, if a head needs to roll, he'll roll it.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of depends in what direction things get played, which is why I think it makes the most sense to call for like Walt, like the security via Waltz. But Pete Hegseth should be the target. Like, just make it hurt as much as possible, and make a pariah out of the already weakest link is the way to go with it. But we'll see. Again, a lot of this depends how Democrats play it, how the media plays it. I was actually pretty impressed with the hearings today, how much the Democrats are taking it to these guys. Like, they were not pulling punches at all whatsoever. And this is something that's going to piss off a lot of like, you're telling me that like the military, the ex-military Republican congressmen, they might get in line, but they're fucking pissed about this. You know, like that. This is not helping him in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I doubt it's going to get to that level. I hope the Democrats do hammer it home, because in some communities it will play off as irresponsible. But I keep waiting for the Republicans to care about stuff like this, and they don't, obviously. But the voters, I'm not sure. Like, I imagine your average Republican voter is going to answer something like, well, that was a mistake, and they all make mistakes, and it's pretty bad, but nothing bad happened, so who cares? That's my guess of how most Republicans are going to. Emma says that Democrats need to get a backbone. I am in absolute agreement with you and John on this, that the Democrats need to hammer us home. The Republicans keep giving them so much ammo to just, pile on, and there's no reason they shouldn't on this one. This
is a howitzer, TJ. I just looked it up. YouGov poll was released today. 60% of Republicans say it's very or somewhat serious problem that Trump officials shared military plans with journalists in that chat. 60% of Republicans. Like, this is one of those things where it's, and all U.S. adults, by the way, is 74%. Very or somewhat serious. Very few people think it's not serious or not serious at all. Only 13%. So it is a bad. That's pretty bad polling.
It's pretty bad
for the Trump administration. It's not everyone's just going to lockstep fall in line here, because again, there's no defensible ground.
None at all.
To stand, like, absolutely none. There's no way to defend. Even if you're being hypocritical, even if you don't care about consistency, there's just no actual explanation of events which doesn't look bad.
Yeah,
you cannot put makeup on this pig.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we'll see. I'm going to see how that goes. Wait, this is our worst nightmare we can't make up for. Oh, are you talking about the Democrats? Okay, yeah, the Democrats.
Emma, this is our worst nightmare so far.
Yeah, every day.
It's only getting worse from here.
There's a new man-made horror beyond our comprehension. It just keeps going on and on. So, all right. So, John, did you see the title of today's episode?
I did see the clip that we're referring to here.
All right, great. So, all right, folks, I wanted to bring this up because I find it quite funny. It seemed like good Tuesday show banter or whatever. But Jasmine Crockett, who heretofore, I think she was most known for a slight she threw at Marjorie Taylor Greene. What did she say? She said Marjorie Taylor Greene had a beach blonde, bad built butch body. That's what it was. Yeah. And I remember like people
Fucking nailed it, by the way.
well,
spot
so-
on insult there.
yeah, it's like I thought it was one syllable too short to be perfect. Because like if we're getting the froze, like beach blonde, bad built, butch made body would have sounded a lot better. But you know what? As far on the fly, coming on the spot, excellent. You know, no criticism whatsoever. However, this one, 10 out of 10, I think. She was referring to Governor Greg Abbott from the Lone Star State of Texas. And she came up with a nickname for him that I kind of like. So here we go.
Thank you so much, Morgan, because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
All right. So Jasmine Crockett referring to Governor Greg Abbott, wheelchair bound Greg Abbott, as Governor Hot Wheels. I need a lot more of this. Folks. Michelle Obama tried the whole when they go low, we go high thing, 12 years ago. Look where that's gotten us. Look where that's gotten us. And the best part about this is that you can throw this insult at Greg Abbott, awful human being. He deserves every slight we can think of. And if the Republicans try coming back with "How dare you, sir," you don't go fuck themselves. Just tell them to fuck off. That they don't care. You know this. That you guys have made your entire political personality the fact that you want to say retard and trans slurs like that and racial slurs. That's all you want. So when you get it thrown back at you, I don't want to hear any complaining about it. Well, what do you think, John?
So I'm of two minds about it.
Oh, here we go.
Because I agree with you. I agree with everything you just said. But also, it doesn't pass the funny test. Mm-hmm. Like her delivery was good. The joke itself isn't very good. Mm-hmm. And if we're going to be making jokes about disabled people, they need to be funnier. That's my only that here. I'm totally in agreement with you where you can make handicap jokes about evil people like that, Greg Abbott, because I know there's people who are like, oh, well, what about the handicapped people watching this? Well, are they fucking horrific human beings? No. Well, this insult doesn't apply to them. This is very specifically pointed at someone who we know cultivates the kind of people who view handicapness as a bad thing. That is the choir that he preaches to, and that is his choice. And so the insult sticks. I'm not a handicapped person, can't speak for them all. But to me, it's just like, we can have a little nuance on how jokes apply to some people and not others, even if they're about the type of person someone is. I just think Governor Hot Wheels is a little juvenile and
not good enough.
Easy. Like it's not good enough. I agree with you. I'm totally for the crass insults. Her delivery carried it. But imagine someone who didn't have good delivery saying that, it would have come off cringe as fuck.
Yeah, so I think you're correct. That I appreciate the spirit more than the content, I think, because I wrote down a few myself that I would want to use for if I was talking about Greg Abbott. Chair apparent is one I came up with. Wheel E Coyote, I think would be pretty good. The Red State Roller. And my personal favorite I thought of is the Chairborne Ranger. Maybe that's an army one that's funny enough, but Chairborne Ranger really made me laugh. So, I'm all on board with coming up with as many derisive and derogatory names for right-wingers as possible, because this is the game we're playing right now. If you don't want to play this game, you shouldn't have started it. Let's go. Let's keep this energy rolling.
Yeah, and so my one that I came up with was No Meals on Wheels.
No Meals on Wheels. Good. Very good.
Because that one also has a political barb.
Very good.
It also has a satirical attack layered into it. So it gives it a little bit more coverage in my mind. But the brilliant thing about utilizing this sort of messaging strategy is that it is genuine. And I can't stress this enough. Like if you're sitting here right now clutching your pearls about Jasmine Crockett, and I'm not talking to the conservatives, you're clearly hypocrites. I'm talking, to the people on this side of the aisle. I just need you to understand that everyone who would get upset about this is already in our coalition. And everyone who wants to see our coalition make more of these crass jokes is very willing to jump onto our side if we do it correctly. Like it doesn't actually serve us to language police jokes. Critiquing the messaging, Always good. We will always sit here. We've critiqued many jokes that Republicans have made because of what they were saying with them. I don't think Jasmine Crockett is saying here it's bad to be in a wheelchair. She's saying, look at this pretend strong man who's wheelchair bound. That's the joke. It's not a good joke. I already said that. She didn't do it great, but that is the joke behind this. It is a personal attack against a bad person, not an attack against all people in wheelchairs. That's the difference here. We can have that nuanced discussion. We're smarter than them. So don't fucking eat your own. Don't attack Jasmine Crockett for this. We got literal fucking fascists in the White House running shit and deporting people to slave labor camps. If you're clutching your pearls over this, you're wasting your fucking breath.
Well, my message to anyone who would, clutch their pearls over this and get all worked up, either on the right, left or the right, that if you're upset about us, making fun of Greg Abbott, his inability to walk, I just want to say that I like governors who don't get paralyzed. Those are the governors I like. Those are the ones that make my list right there. So yeah, I don't want to hear anything else. Do you know how he got paralyzed, John? Do you know how?
I don't actually.
Yeah, Governor Greg Abbott, when he was a young boy, was born.
Was he kicking a homeless person?
Oh, you know what? It's not that, but the situation is actually funnier. Is how he lost his ability to walk. So Greg Abbott was born with the ability to walk, just like you and I. But when he was, I think, 24 or 26, sometime in his mid-20s, he was going for a jog in a forest after a storm. And one of the trees was damaged during the storm, fell on him, and broke his back. It was literally an act of God that took away his ability to walk. So this man is cursed by the Almighty. God tried to take him out, and like in all of God's other endeavors, he failed. He almost got there. And so, listen, I think that we shouldn't put a man in leadership who the Lord above has clearly, taken a strong dislike for. Now, what's interesting about this is that when Greg Abbott was paralyzed, he sued the people who owned the property where the tree fell. And he also sued a logging company or something like that. And they worked out a deal for him where they paid him out in these 3 lump sum payments and then monthly payments afterward for the rest of his life. And the monthly payments that Greg Abbott gets for free for the rest of his life, $14,000 this guy gets every month for the rest of his life because he was. And what's great about this is that was an insurance claim that he ended up settling with after this happened. And he signed legislation in Texas to cap people getting exorbitant payments from insurance companies. So he got his, and then he said, everyone else, I'm climbing the ladder and then knocking it over when I'm done. So yeah, Greg Abbott, awful human being. It's kind of like I didn't come up with this, unfortunately. I heard someone say it, but this is a reverse Martin Luther. You know how Martin Luther got caught in a storm and he's prayed to God under a tree to save his life and he would give his life to God? God actually tried to kill, Greg Abbott through a storm. So yeah, that's just pretty funny.
Yeah, no, it is just comically evil. The more you learn about Greg Abbott, the more you're like, fuck this guy. Which is again, it's not good to make jokes about suicide, but I'll take any Hitler killed himself joke every day of the week and twice on Sunday. So really, the target can really change the intention of the message. We do have a question here. I think this is a decently good political discussion question from Kyle. This is our Q&A show. He says, what are your thoughts on intentionally misgendering Republicans? Do it all the fucking time. Do it. And only do it to the ones that do the whole trans shit, like anti-trans crusade and misgender, trans people all the time. Do it to them. Don't just do it like a blanket thing, because that's just equally annoying. But yeah, the trans woman in Congress, I always forget her name.
I can't remember either. McBride's her name.
McBride, that's it. She did it to a Republican who misgendered her, and it caused a big stir. And I think it's great. Like it puts them on the defensive. Their entire strategy is always play offense. It is the fascist playbook that you always play offense. You're never on defense. You're always attacking, and you're always framing the conversation that way. By misgendering them back, they suddenly have to play defense because they actually fucking care. Like that. It highlights how they care about being gendered correctly when they respond negatively to being misgendered. That's the brilliant play there. It's a dumb strategy. It shouldn't work if these people were smarter. Unfortunately, they take the bait every fucking time they get misgendered, and it just very clearly paints, without having to use academic language, without having to go into like gender studies and trying to explain how gender is different than sex in an academic sense. It just clearly states, it kind of sucks if you feel like you're a dude and someone genders you as a woman, and it pisses you off. So what's the fucking difference? and it just demonstrates that. It goes through the screen right to people. I have absolutely no problem with misgendering Republicans who do that.
Yeah, the example that John mentioned with Sarah McBride, that's her name, Sarah McBride, that when in committees in Congress, they'll, present her and say, okay, now Mr. McBride will speak. And then this one time I saw them throw to her in this committee, and then she said, "Thank you, Madam Chairman," to the man who is the chairman. But unfortunately, and that's the right way to handle it, or I think the best way to handle it, because when you're in an argument or a debate, the person who is the most worked up is usually the one who comes off looking badly. You don't want to be the overly emotional one. You don't want to be the one losing your cool. You want that, which is why the Republicans were, work out so well when they're just excessively mean to try to get people's emotions, do the exact same things. But after she said that, her comment was kind of stepped on by another Democrat there who launched into this, "How dare you, sir? Who do you think you are?" And look, there is a time and place for that, fine, but that's not going to work. It's not going to work on anybody. I mean, maybe he's playing to his constituency to show how upset he is about this, and that's fine too. But if you really want to nail the point home, do what Sarah McBride did. Now, this is a clip I'm going to show here. This is from Wyoming. I don't know exactly who did this, but here's a great example of what we're talking about in the Wyoming legislature.
Next up is Britt.
Hello. Thank you, Madam Chairman. As the Senate overwhelmingly voted yes.
You can call me Mr. Chairman if you want.
Well, I cannot be compelled to use your preferred pronouns as you have all voted.
Wait a minute. We're talking about preferred pronouns. A lot of people are. I prefer to be called Chairman French. That's my preferred pronoun.
I know, and you all voted, but preferred pronouns cannot be compelled speech in SF 77. Anyway, my name is Britt Borrell, and I'm a constituent.
Next.
That's great. That is flawless right there. Like, the only way that could have possibly been better is if she would have said, "Well, thank you. Chairman is not a pronoun," but just so you know, that's not a pronoun at all. But throw it right back at them. There's no defense to this. I think it is political malpractice that Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer haven't said, from now on, every time we address a Republican in the House or the Senate, we're going to misgender them. We're going to do it purposefully. And then you might say, well, if they do that, the Democrats could do it right back in return. Fine, let them. This is the game. Like, it's going to show how absurd this conversation is. It's going to show how ridiculous this is. That if it doesn't have any meaning to anyone at all, why are you making such a big deal out of this? And go for it. I think it's the best thing you could possibly do. What do you think, John?
So there's so many levels. I like when our conversations kind of all tangentially align, because there's so many levels to this. The thing that you said about the chair, because I don't think it was the chairperson with McBride. I think the chairperson actually is the one that defended McBride, and I forget who it was. And I was like, I like that he showed fight and fire. Mm-hmm. I did like that he did that. I just think that he was strategically incorrect. I agree with you. The better thing to do would have just been to continue calling the other person Madam Representative or whatever it was. That would have been the better thing. Just like this woman did. Just, this is what you guys voted on, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm just following your rules here, guys. I'm not upset about it. You seem to be upset about it. I don't know why you're such a fucking snowflake. But let's just move on and discuss real business now. That is utterly perfect. And you're correct with Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrats in general, and also the fucking Atlantic, fucking Goldberg. There is this mindset in liberal moderates. And I think that it often gets attributed to like donors and stuff. And that, there's definitely economic incentives involved here. But I think there's a genuine mindset where they feel like they need to be the voice of reason. Yeah. That the Republicans are off being crazy. We need to show people that we're reasonable. That could not be farther from the fucking truth. What you need to do is show that this is a fucking clown show. Like, if you act normal, people will follow your lead. If you act like everything is crazy, people are going to follow your lead and think that everything is crazy. That shouldn't be too hard of a concept to understand, TJ. But they really seem to struggle with this. They really seem to think, even though we just did this when Trump was being crazy last time, and again, infinitely less crazy last time. He was relatively normal president from 2016 to 2020 relative to these first. Are we still just a month into this shit? 2 months now?
2 months. 2 months.
Jesus Christ. Relative to these first 2 months. If you try and act normal, it legitimizes what the other side is doing. You need to meet them at their level. You need to be like, if this is the game that you guys are playing, we will play this game with you. And if the American people don't like that, they know who's to blame. You know, if you just try and act like things are normal, people are going to continue ignoring everything that's happening like they always have done. Be crazy. Match their crazy.
Yes.
And I'm not saying do bad things. I'm not saying do destructive things. I'm saying right now, Chuck Schumer's stated strategy is let the American people see how bad Trump gets so that they'll come back to us and we'll reestablish the status quo, which is stupid because the reason they voted for Trump in the first place is because they don't like the status quo. That's the only reason Trump is able to succeed. You need to match their crazy and show them a different status quo that is superior to the one Trump is presenting.
Yes. Match the crazy and also play into the moment with one thing Republicans are great at is the like disingenuous cry bullying, just saying something and say, oh, like for example, with Trump, where he did, the thing where he's like, oh, that's not what I was doing. How dare you accuse me of that? Flip it back on them, which is exactly what we're doing with the misgendering thing. Back to Greg Abbott. You could even use this. Like if I were running for governor against Greg Abbott, I would release commercials saying stuff like, Greg Abbott refuses to stand up against special interests. Like people are screwing over our veterans. And
that's a good joke.
Yeah, unlike Greg Abbott, I will not take this sitting down. Just do that shit because those are normal phrases. And when they come at you, it's like, no, that's just what people say. Like, have you never spoken English before? This is an idiom that's commonly
honestly
used.
You're the one who's got him being ableist right now, assuming that was a joke against handicapped people. Wow,
yeah,
wow.
Says a lot about your character that's the first place your mind went. Play the fucking game, man. That's the world we're living in. Just go for it. So the fact that they're not doing it, political malpractice. Like we shouldn't have better ideas than you guys, right? Like you guys should be the pros at this. This is obviously good advice. What do we have here? We had another one. Zeke said, good thing this is Abbott's last run. Very good. Very good. Yeah, these jokes just kind of write themselves, folks. They're there, just ready for us. So yeah, I don't know.
And TJ, what you said there, it can't, we shouldn't be better at it. You're right.
No,
we should not be better at this. And you know what? There's a lot of people out there like, oh, that's risky. Okay, if it doesn't work, just try something else. Just constantly attack, put things out there 24/7, control the narrative, flood the zone. Again, we just saw this work for the most incompetent, stupid people ever. These are people who fucking invite journalists to their illegal war planning group chat. They're idiots, and it worked for them. Imagine what we could accomplish if we just copied their strategy, but with actual good ideas and policy. We could change the entire world, TJ. Yeah. And for whatever reason, Democrats I'm starting to see more. I need to give credit where credit is due. I'm seeing more urgency from more Democrats and more willingness to take the gloves off. We're not nearly where we need to be yet, but they're at least moving in the right direction. And I want to give credit for that so that they continue to fucking do it.
Yes. Yeah. Because anyone saying what John mentioned there that, wow, this is a risky move. Like, what's the risk? What are you risking?
We have nothing to
losing?
lose.
You have nothing to lose at all,
You
right?
literally lost every chamber of the fucking government. You
Yeah.
have nothing to lose.
Yeah, and in Texas, you had nothing to lose either. Yeah, the plan that the sticking with the decorum and I got thank you very much, gentlemen from that's gotten you nowhere, right? And we're losing, unfortunately. Like I brought a chart here. I don't know if you've seen this, John, but I'll go over this a little bit. That you're losing a very important demographic with young people, which should not be happening, right? That should not be happening. But John, I don't know if you saw this chart. I saw it released earlier today on Twitter, but it's 2024 Democratic support by age split by race and gender. And on the very bottom of the chart, you'll see a dashed line there, and that is white men. And white men at 20 years old are at around 27, 28% liberal or support Democrats. White men at 75 years old are at like 40%. And the same is true for men of color, that men of color support Democrats around 50%. And then it just goes up from there, honestly. And then men of color in their 70s are supporting Democrats around 70%. So in both white and men of color, 20-year-olds are wildly like twice as conservative at least than 75-year-olds. That's not a good sign, folks. That's not a good sign. Like that is something. And I don't think all of it comes down to the language and everything. A lot of it I do think comes down to I've always made comments that, the fact that some loser can't get laid is not my problem. They've quickly made it my problem, actually. Like they've successfully made it my problem. The fact that, their asocial activities and their inability to attract any female interest has shifted them completely to the right, like way more than anything I've seen since I've been alive. That 20-year-olds are not supposed to be that conservative, male or female, white or otherwise. And they seem to think that voting for conservatives is going to get them a girlfriend. That's not going to work, guys. Donald Trump is not going to get you a girlfriend. But have you seen that, John? You're probably not super shocked by it because, the kids are alt-right. But, that's what do you think?
So can you pop that back up there, TJ?
Sure.
I don't seem to have that button on my screen. But so there's a lot of interesting things about this chart because some of it isn't new to me. I've known about the younger people, especially younger men, and I really can't stress this enough. How the is that the male people of color? This graph makes no fucking sense.
All right, so
it's dotted lines, yes, and then not dotted lines, and the legend doesn't have any dotted lines.
All right,
very confusing.
The bottom dotted line is white men. The blue dotted line is men of color. And the solid red line is white women, and the solid blue line is women of color. And support for them.
Yeah, it's a horrific graph, but I got it. So we've known that young people are getting more conservative. And let's give women of color their credit. They are not
pretty solid line there. Yeah, that's not almost no movement. Yeah,
good job, ladies. But there's a couple interesting things about this. One, what the fuck happened to white Gen X? Like, I'm very confused by this because Gen X to me, like, if you think about like what Gen X, it's like the fucking grunge generation. It's this Rage Against the Machine generation. What the fuck happened to you? My parents are Gen X. My dad got more liberal as he has aged. So I don't know where the fuck this dip has come from. It seems weird because the young people, I know how to explain. The young people, it's clearly Republicans have dominated the social media landscape, especially among young men. And the entire ethos of the Trump administration is basically designed to target like middle school boys. Mm-hmm. Like Elon Musk is a middle school boy in a 60-year-old billionaire's body.
Right.
Like that is who Elon Musk is. That is who he appeals to. That makes a hell of a lot of sense to me. I don't understand what happened to the Gen X white people. And for a while, I thought it was just like Gen X. I don't know. They had fucking lead poisoning or something. I don't know if that was them. They might have had something else. Were they asbestos? Who fucking knows? But like, I thought it was just like, I don't know, a medical thing. Something was in the water at the time. But I didn't know. I never knew that graph. It was just the white Gen X. It wasn't the Gen X of color. They continue to like go up as they age.
Yeah,
It was just the white people. So I don't know how that happened. I don't know if it was like Facebook. I don't know if it's just like Fox News demographic at this point. I really don't know, but that is very interesting. And then the last thing I wanted to say, I mean, I think like young men know that this shit isn't getting them laid. Like I think they've kind of given up on getting laid. And I just have to say, like, there's a lot of fucking opportunity out there.
God, listen,
for young liberal men right now. Let me fucking like the fucking Harry scandal. TJ, did you see that? Harry Sisson, however the fuck you say his name.
Okay, all right.
The blue MAGA, like guy, like, and also like. Not a scandal.
Not a scandal.
It honestly, like, I understand. You're like, oh well, he's kind of being like a playboy. Like that's what he was doing. Okay, like we all understand what was going on here. It's whatever, but like, it's that he's not like some massively attractive guy, guys. He is not the fucking super rich, 6'3" and jack dude with a fucking Lamborghini. Like, this is just a guy who has average looks and says liberal shit into a microphone. That's it. And he was drowning in it, guys. So it has never been easier to get laid if you just don't act like a jackass. It's never been easier.
It's the Harry Sisson thing. I have my suspicion that's even real. Because it's like it's not.
You think he leaked it himself?
I don't think it's real because look, okay, what is the scandal here? Because you said it's a non-scandal. For those who we're talking about, this guy who I wasn't even familiar with him, but I said, wow. Some girl was doing this video. She said, I found out that I was talking to Harry Sisson. I can't remember if that's his name or whatever, but he had been talking to me over Snapchat and he asked me for, dirty pictures. And I found out he was talking to 11 other girls and asking them the same thing. I said, this sounds like every guy I've ever met. What do you think? You're telling me this is like a scandal across the internet? Wait, what did you think was going on? Like, if you weren't his girlfriend, it's not hell. If you were his girlfriend, it's still a pretty minor scandal. Okay, this guy was unfaithful to his girlfriend. All right, that happens all the time. Now, I'm not condoning it, but it's not something that I need to care about.
It's not like I'm not condemning. Like, you didn't like beat anyone. You didn't harm anyone. You were
a horny dude, right?
You played someone. Like what? Come on.
It seems like a phony scandal to me. It would be, someone releases something on Twitter like TJ Whitehead has a tennis ball can between his legs. He can't even ride a bike. And it's like, okay, this isn't really like a scandal here. This is just something to make you look good. This makes him look. All right, fine. I just think it's absurd. But John is right. The point that I keep seeing. I watch a lot of feminist TikTok. I got stuck on it a while ago and I keep watching it. And then I watch a lot. So I end up seeing a lot from women creators and everything. And then just, knowing people. Guys, like, it is wild how many women are out there saying, yeah, I go outside. I never see any men. Men never approach me. Like, all my friends, guys never ask them on dates. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's never been easier to get a date if you're a guy.
Never been easy. And they're all woe is me, TJ. They're all woe is me. The climate, I can't approach it. Oh my fucking God. TJ, guys, I promise.
Let's go, John. Let's fucking go.
I promise you, just be respectful. Don't be a dickhead. Don't be like weird and creepy. Just respect. You can do it. And again, be cringy. Be cringy about it. Be so explicitly just like, this is what I want. This is what you want. I don't care if I'm being cool right now. Let's do something. They will fucking eat it. It's clear communication and not being a jackass will get you laid in this world very easily. It's not that hard. It's obnoxious how often you'll hear guys talk about the fact that, wow, it's gotten so hard now because anybody can string you up for saying that you were being a sexual harasser, that you were being a creep, that you were being weird. It's not worth risking my freedom. Guys, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Like, trust me, women have dealt with this for a long fucking time. Okay. This is something that they love to say that, well, I don't want to take the risk of sounding creepy if I go talk to a woman. Buddy, you take the risk of sounding creepy every time you open your mouth, no matter who you're talking to. That is just a part of the deal, okay? And look, you might sound creepy.
it might happen. All right. It's like, John, have you ever come off as creepy? I have. It's happened before.
I'm sure I have. I 100% sure I have.
Absolutely.
Especially when I was younger, didn't
When
know
you
what
were
the fuck
young,
I was
exactly.
doing. And again, I'm not saying I was like being a creep.
No,
I was
but
just not good at it. You
yeah,
know?
if you've never done it, like, because honestly, it might not even be the words you say. It could just be how you're acting. Odds are that's going to be the case, actually, because guys get it twisted where they'll say that, well, you know, I'm afraid that women are going to be mean to me. I'm afraid that she's going to insult me, that she might cut me down. True, that might happen. But think about it from the women's perspective. They're going to be a lot more scared than you are, because if you walk up and you're talking all like hesitancy, you're like, oh, hey, how are you doing? The woman's gonna be thinking, okay, what is this guy hiding? Why is he acting so weird? Like, you might just be nervous or whatever, but from her point of view, you're hiding something. You're clearly hiding something. So if you walk up and you're all reserved and like, petulant, they're gonna think that there's something up. That could come off as creepy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the only way you're gonna get better at that is actually by talking to people, going out and meeting folks, taking part in activity, and don't make it like your singular goal. Oh man, I've got to get a girlfriend. That gets you nowhere. That desperation stinks. It reeks off of you, and it's going to repel people. Just go out and practice talking to people. Like the basic human trait, talk to people, make friends. And that is how, it's not all just about getting a girlfriend. It's about creating a strong social network that offline, that's going to help you get friends. It's going to help you get jobs. It's going to help you advance in the world, and it's going to help you romantically. But if you stay in your room and fucking bitch all day, you're not going to get anywhere. And you just can't blame it on, well, I'm just shy and awkward. Yeah, everyone is, buddy. This is part of the deal.
Yeah, so Kyle says, I don't think either of you guys have social anxiety. I can't speak for TJ, but I have fucking social anxiety out the fucking ass. I have no sympathy for people who say they have social anxiety and they can't go out and do this, because yes, you fucking can. You just have to make yourself do it. I used to like go to frat parties intentionally on my own to force myself to have no crutch to lean on so that I could overcome these things. Again, it's not easy. I understand that it's difficult. It is hard. It is scary, but it's a fucking skill issue. Like that is at the end of the day, if you're worried about like women, like, you know, thinking the wrong thing about you, skill issue. If you just feel like you can't ever approach women, skill issue. And that doesn't mean that I'm necessarily shaming you. I'm telling you, it's something that you can improve. Like, it's something that can be improved. You can get better at it. And it's a very valuable skill to have in general in life, in order to just go out and be able to be social in situations that are difficult for you. And if you do, again, the game has never been easier. It has never been easier to do this because people are fucking starved. People are starved for, in real life, interpersonal interaction and human connection. Starved for it. And women especially are starved for that with men who aren't total conservative dickhead assholes. Especially if you're in your early 20s. Jesus fucking Christ. It's a scary world out there right now. So like, yeah, you're probably going to have better odds of success than ever before. Just go for it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, and Kyle says here that talking to people is scary. Even just talking to strangers for the sake of making friends is terrifying. You're right, Kyle. It is. Mm-hmm. It is. No one would disagree with that statement. And I did suffer from social anxiety for a while. I remember I would sign up for events, and like I was old enough to drive, and I would drive out to the event and park and get so scared of talking to people that I just turn the car back on and drive back home, because I didn't feel like going and mingling and talking to strangers because it was that scary. Now, the funny thing is, my ability, I've always been, good at conversations and like performative stuff and being the center of attention. I'm a fucking rock star at it, but actually doing it and talking to someone scared the shit out of me. It was talking to someone romantically 10 times scarier, because, you know, they're rejecting you. If someone wants to reject you from hanging out or being your friend, that's one thing. But saying, yeah, I'm so repulsed by you that the idea of being with you romantically is something I'm going to shut down right away. Not give you that. There's no way around it not being scary. But I don't believe for a second that the reason that all these men are hiding in their rooms like by the millions is because they all have crippling social anxiety. Or if they do, like John said, it's like push-ups. You want to know how to get better at doing push-ups? doing push-ups. It's the best way to do it. So if you're fine, if anyone out there is listening and they're fine with having no friends and having no romantic interests and not having a social network of people to help you advance your career or your public life, fine. If you're fine with that, who am I to say to change it? But if you do want to change it, that's the only alternative, right? The only alternative is to go out and start talking to people and conquer that fear, or do your best to face the fear. Like, not facing, like, hiding from the fear is not going to make it get any better. And people aren't going to come to you. People aren't going to show up at your house and say, hey, I'd love to be your friend, which seems to be what a lot of folks are hoping for, but that's not going to happen.
And honestly, I have always made friends with people who do that, who go and be like, I'm going to be this person's friend. I just use them because I can't fucking do that. Like, I only have so much bandwidth with my social anxiety to like do that on a consistent basis. I'm not necessarily going up to total strangers on, every single day of the week and being like, I'm going to be your friend, but I get along very well with those kinds of people. Those kinds of people will come up to you. You'll notice them, the people who are going around, and just intentionally make friends with the most social people in the room, because they're the ones that are easiest to make friends with, and they'll connect you to all the other people and make it easier. It's still going to be fucking scary. It's still going to be scary. It's still going to be hard. The first time you tried, as TJ said, first time you tried to do 100 push-ups, it was hard. And maybe you haven't gotten there yet, whoever is listening right now. But I guarantee you can get there. Every single human on a planet who is able-bodied can do 100 push-ups. Not now, but in a year from now, I guarantee you can get there. It's the same thing with this shit. As much as it is hard, it's not difficult to accomplish if you just do the things, the maintenance. And here's the other thing, TJ, that this is the genuine thing that I think trips a lot of people up. This doesn't work to get the one girl.
Exactly.
I feel like people hear this advice sometimes and go, I'm going to try and get that girl by just going out, continuing to ask her, never taking no for an answer. No, that's fucking creepy. That's when you get fucking, if the girl's not interested in you, move the fuck on. There's other fish in the sea. You're not like married to this girl. It's just whoever you have an infatuation with right now. She doesn't want it. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck. But go for it. You get the no, just move on. Someone else will show up. You will fall madly in love with someone else, and you'll increase those chances if you just continue putting in the effort to approach people, be respectful, and just stay what you want out of a relationship. And that goes for romantic interests, that goes for friendships, that goes for business interests, that goes for literally every type of relationship you have in your life. You need to set the terms. They might not always reciprocate, but you'll never know unless you try.
Yes, you have to find out that you have to become okay with hearing no. That a lot of people just don't want to hear the no. They hear the no and it ruins their entire day, ruins their week, maybe their month. You can't let that happen, right? Like it's fine. If someone doesn't want to be your friend, they don't want to hang out with you. There are literally millions of other people in your state. You will be okay. And also, well, another thing, John said, don't be infatuated and focused on one person. That's going to lead you astray. That is kind of creepy too. Women don't want you to come on to them and hear and them get the idea that if they turn you down, you could do something drastic. They don't like that is not, you're going to scare them away with that kind of desperation or whatever. So just practice. What I would recommend if you're suffering from something like this is some pretty simple steps. First off, what did Kyle said here? Kyle's got to say with this one. This reminds me of pull yourself up by your bootstraps. If you have social anxiety, you need therapy. And we live in a culture where men in particular are told therapy is a weakness. Well, I mean, what do you think a therapist is going to tell you? I mean, like,
a therapist is going to tell you exactly what we're telling you right now.
I got news for you. Your therapist's like, work on this or whatever. But you're not going to get better with social anxiety by not talking to people. That is a necessary step for this. So what I was going to say is that you start off small. Start off small in a way that even the most socially awkward person cannot fuck it up. So it's like a bulletproof interaction. Go up to someone and say, "Hey, nice watch." Like it can't possibly go wrong. Or it's like just an innocuous statement. Well, start off with hello. That's actually one to say, "Hey, hi, how's it going?" And they'll say hi back. It'll be fine. Practice that until you say it 2 or 3 times a day. Like, it's stunning how many people won't say hi or hello. And I've kind of noticed that, but if you say hi or hello to someone, they will say it back 9 out of 10 times. Sure, you might run across some random asshole. You say good morning. They say, well, what's good about it? That's going to be pretty rare. That's not going to happen. Then you can move up to a compliment. Hey, nice watch. Oh, your glasses look great. Things that really can't go wrong. Now, you do that once or twice, it's not that big of a deal. But you do it twice a day, like John said, that's 700 times a year that you've said, hey, hi, how are you doing? I like your watch, or hey, lovely weather, whatever it has. You will get better at it within a matter of days. A matter of days. It's going to happen. So yeah, just do it, folks. Oh, what a Kyle say here.
So
go ahead.
I want to address like the whole spiel that Kyle's going on here, because Kyle, and I hope you understand that like we're giving you tough love right now. This is just
it's what we did.
Hear this
it's what we
in
did
my life.
Mm-hmm.
I also, I've gone to therapy. You're entirely correct. What did he say? He actually studied this in grad school, a large barrier to getting help with stigma, both internalized and external. 100% correct, Kyle. 100% correct. He says that he works with a therapist. The first time is to learn how to manage anxiety, write down your feelings, learn to identify emotions, start off at home, then work on going to a bar by yourself. Honestly, there's more baby steps in between those two things. Probably going to a bar by yourself is fucking hard.
I wouldn't recommend that. I would never recommend that.
Like that's tough. That's tough to do.
Yeah.
But like you can do it. You know what? Cashiers at your grocery store, the bus driver, whatever, people that like you have to have a social interaction with on some level, give them a nice compliment, or say, how was your day today? Or just say, genuinely, thank you. Whatever. They will appreciate it. Again, I'm not saying go hit on the cashier.
Yeah.
Not what I'm saying. But just have attempt to have a genuine social interaction with them. It works all the fucking time because they don't see it coming. They're used to just plowing through social interactions like it's their job. They get a genuine experience. You're going to get a genuine, probably going to get a good response back. And you can usually tell which ones are going to be nicer and which ones aren't just by the way they're standing. But like that, it's the little things. Build it up and eventually you'll get there. And I can't stress enough, look for the people who look like they have a ton, who are going out and doing the things that you're scared of, and give them the compliment. Tell them they have nice shoes. See what they're doing and just fucking mimic them. Mirror them back to them. Like that's like literally what psychopaths, whatever do. Like they just mirror people's emotions back to them. It's a very, very successful trait to have, is to just mirror people's emotions back to them. If they get excited, you get excited. If they like Taylor Swift, show how much you like it. Just be genuine. I'm not saying fucking lie, but like be genuine about your interests. Be genuine about who you are. Be genuine about what they're saying. People love to talk about themselves. Ask them about themselves.
Yeah.
Again, these aren't things that are like hard to do in any one setting. You can do them and you can build up. And again, we've said this so many times. The bar has never been lower. People have never craved social interaction more. People have never craved genuine conversation with people more. People never crave connecting with people in real life more. If you're a fucking adult and you like try and be friends with someone, they're gonna like treat you like you're man up from fucking heaven and they've been wandering in the desert, because it's so hard to make friends as an adult. Just be friendly and genuine, and it will take you a long way. It's gonna be scary and hard. I get it. I also have crippling social anxiety. It's why I can't use I could never use dating apps, because I can't fucking text random people.
Oh, really?
Could never fucking do it. Like it's just, it'd be crippling anxiety every time. Doesn't work for me. But like, I do plenty fine in real life, TJ.
That's interesting. I don't know if I've heard that one before. You can't use dating. I mean, I wouldn't recommend people using dating apps, but for us, we don't have time. We're out of time here. But why I wouldn't recommend
this has been a fun discussion, TJ. I like the arc of this conversation.
No, it's shit. What were you saying about getting? Oh yeah, it's never been easier. That's we can't stress this enough. That it is. Talking to people is scary. It's never not scary. I get that. However, the climate right now of just saying hello to someone and the chances of the conversation going well, astronomically high. Now I get it. It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to go out there. And I don't go to a bar by yourself. I wouldn't do that today. I wouldn't go to a bar by myself today. Because that just seems odd. I hate
going to a bar by as much as like I did that at frat parties, because like people are intending to talk to strangers at frat parties.
Yeah.
That's not the case with bars anymore. Like that's tough to do. If you're
No.
able to go to a bar by yourself and make friends with people, you're good, bro. You're good. You've succeeded in your goals.
All right, yeah, I would. The only way I would go to a bar by myself is if I like knew the bartender or something.
Yeah.
I would need to know someone in that bar to go there by myself, yeah, and everything. But yeah, just going to people, saying hello, saying hi. There's no levels. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some, but the vast majority of people who are socially awkward or shy or whatever, you can just say hello. You can say hi and how's your day going, and then it's incredible how quickly you'll get good at this. And the thing John mentioned earlier about mimicking folks, and the mimicking, that's part of communication, like mirroring people's behaviors and their actions and their words. That's a big part. You'll do it naturally, honestly, with conversation. Another thing is, like, guys, if you worry about sounding creepy, whatever, you will find out quicker than you think what kind of conversation and what kind of words and body language weirds people out. You find out real quick where you start to, people don't tend to respond very well to that. If you have even sub-average intelligence, you could figure out pretty quickly that, okay, that interaction didn't go like I planned. It may have been how I said this, or they may straight up tell you, but you're not going to prison for starting a conversation. Like, you really got to try to go over the line there. But yes, yeah, Wolfie is very fluffy. Ben. I don't feel like we've seen Ben in a while.
I saw that too. I haven't seen Ben in a while.
Yeah, a little cat named Grace. No, that's good. It's good to know. But all right, John, who do we got this weekend or this week for?
We have Ben Silver on Thursday. Guy I've been talking to a lot on Threads. He was a big relatively large TikToker. His account got deleted, and he's working his way back up. He should be good for the show. Very much of the left wing variety. So. We'll be discussing, I'm sure, the Signal chat a little bit more and all of the details that get released over the next 2 days here. I'm hoping that Goldberg releases all of the texts. Don't think he will.
No.
But if he does, I hope he does it in time for our show and not on a fucking Friday when we have to wait until Tuesday to record another one. But yeah, it should be a fun one, TJ.
Hopefully they added like another journalist in there who was smart enough to keep his mouth shut and he's just hanging out,
that would actually be so funny. Actually, if I would have added someone else. If I would have added someone else and then left and see if they they even noticed, and then see if they kept going afterwards. Because I almost guarantee you they are still using that Signal chat.
Yeah. Oh wait, Ben says I was with my Aunt Pam for a week, probably why I wasn't here. And I also probably forgot about the streams for a while too. Sorry. Well, listen, Aunt Pam has just made 2 enemies. Okay, if she's taking viewers from our show, all right, we'll see what happens.
This is an anti-Aunt Pam podcast.
That's right.
Now.
This is all right. We'll catch you guys on Thursday. All right, that was.